What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to focus on the Torqueflite A904 3-speed automatic in the D100. I'm pretty sure I've covered this before, but let me go into a little backstory here. When I bought this truck and the day I was driving it home, the transmission just wasn't shifting right. As a matter of fact, there was one point I was sitting at a red light and I thought I got rear-ended. I mean, it was like boom. And I looked back and my son-in-law was following me home. I was like, what the hell was that? And I realized it was the transmission downshifting. And I had been sitting at the light for 15, 20 seconds, something like that. And then continuing the drive home, it just wasn't shifting right. I think the lockup was kicking in. Thinking back about it now, I think that was kicking in off and on. So I thought there was a lot going on with the valve body. So one of the first things that I did was I did a shift kit. I did a B&M Transpac shift kit on the valve body. So at that time when I tore into the valve body, I realized somebody had been in there before. There were two check balls that were supposed to come out and those were already missing. So it was obvious that somebody had been in there prior. Maybe they tried to do a shift kit and didn't really finish it. Did it kind of half-assed? I don't really know, but like I said, it was obvious that somebody had been in the valve body prior. So I went ahead, I did the shift kit, and then test drove it a little bit, and it seemed to be doing better. And now that I got the engine back in this thing, driving it around, trying to put some time on it, it's still not shifting right. I mean, it's shifting solid. It's good solid shifts. And so I think that's due to the shift kit that I installed. But the downshifts still feel off. It just doesn't feel right. And I think there's still something going on with the lockup. Now, these A904s, they're kind of, if I remember right, their lockup kicks in pretty early, like 20-something miles an hour or something like that. So with that and with not knowing the whole history on this valve body, I mean, I did a whole rebuild on the transmission, so I really think it still has something to do with the valve body. So I went ahead and I bought another valve body. I found this one on eBay, picked it up. It's obviously out of an 81. Not everything looks exactly the same except for maybe this stamping on the separator plate. So if any of you guys know what these numbers mean on the separator plates, leave a comment down below. I tried to do some research, but I wasn't able to find any information as far as what this means. But looking at them, they look identical. So my plan is to put this valve body into the 904 and drive it and see how it does. I'm not going to do anything to the internals of this valve body. What I am going to do right now, though, is I'm going to tear it down just to have a look on the inside, just inspect everything, make sure everything looks good. I mean, this thing came nice and clean. There's no sign of any fluid in it. There's some marks, like somebody did a little bit of sanding on it here and there maybe. I don't really know. So I am going to tear into it and inspect it. The other thing I'm going to do is the new valve body has Phillips head and standard head screws. I'm not really a fan of that. So I think what I'm going to do is as I tear into this to inspect it, I think I'm going to take the old hardware out of my old valve body. These are all Torx bits and a couple of Allens. And these seem to be a lot easier to get in and out. I mean, that may just be because I've been in here so many times already. So I think I'm going to swap this hardware over to this one and go from there. But going forward, if this works out and if this valve body is in fact working better, I guess, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to go ahead and use this Shift Technology products. What this does is this allows me to change the speed at which the lockup kicks in. by changing a spring out, I believe, and maybe a valve. This allows me to adjust or change the speed at which the lockup kicks in. I can have it kick in later, so I'm not dealing with it at low speed, and just have it kick in when I'm at like highway speeds or getting close to highway speeds. The B&M Transpac shift kit, while firming up the shifts, didn't do anything to address the lockup. So that's what this Shift Technologies products will allow me to do. So I'm going to do this in stages. So there's probably going to be a multi-video little series here. The first one's going to be just inspecting this one, swapping the hardware over, reinstalling it in the truck, and running it. The next video, I'll probably pull the valve body and mess with the lockup, change that out. And then I'll probably end up doing a third video where I do another B&M Transpac or some sort of shift kit to firm this thing up. And what the B&M also allows me to do is pretty much any speed it allows me to downshift. So yeah, I think it's going to be a series of videos coming on this. So that's enough blabbering here. I'm going to go ahead and start tearing into this thing and just get this thing inspected and swap this hardware over. I'm not a fan of using Phillips head screws in this. That one's stripping out already. These things are in here like stupid tight. I do notice, already looking at the bottom of this one, that the next time I'm back in here, I am going to do a couple of things. There's some of these passages that, I don't know how well this is going to show up here, that these, like these holes here, see how nice and clean that opening is? And that one's like it wasn't fully milled out. Same there. See how nice and crisp that one is? And that one is not. Same with this one over here. I mean, it just looks like it's not, like it didn't get fully machined. So hopefully, I mean, this thing was, is only 3 years. This is a 78, this is an 81. So yeah, I don't know why this one has these, it doesn't look like it was really fully machined or fully yeah, machined, I guess. Well, that's interesting. This module is different. The hardware difference. Oh, this has a extra. Odd. This one has an extra pieces of hard aluminum in there is what it has. This one has an extra valve in it. Huh. Interesting. I need to do a little bit of research and see what that is. If I can figure that out. If any of you guys know, what is this valve for? It's on the 78, but it's not on the 81. Interesting. I'm gonna have to cut this here, see if I can figure that out. All right, so a real quick look in this ATSG manual for the A727 and Torqueflite A904. This literally took me like 30 seconds. This extra piece, this extra valve, is a 3-2 downshift and limit valve assembly used on some V8 models. Yeah, so I don't know what this one came out of. If it came out of a V8 or a 6-cylinder or whatever, I don't know what this 81 came out of. But I mean, this says only used on some V8 models. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this one on the original and not install it on the one going back into the truck until I do the rebuild on it. I want to see how this thing performs right out of the box. And then I can maybe put this on here later, and that might be another little test point. So I'm gonna continue on. Alright, so everything looks good in there. A few minor differences. Like I said, there's this valve here on the older one that's not present on this one. I'll probably later on transfer this over to here. But other than that, everything else seems to be in working order from what I can tell. So I'm going to go ahead and slap this one back in the truck. Oh, I got to put the lockup module, lockup valve back on here. And this just goes, yeah, there. The tube, not there. I'm working backwards. Go Goes on like that, and then this will go on there. So yeah, I'm just going to finish buttoning this thing up and then go through and tighten everything down, make sure everything's good and tight. And then I'm going to, so I put the right screws in the right spot. Yeah, finish tightening this down, buttoning it up, tightening everything down, and then I'll get it back into the truck and go from there. Now that everything's been put back together, buttoned up, and ready to go, let's take it for a drive. Definitely shifts a lot smoother. That shift kit is really meant to firm up shifts, but without it, it shifts smoother. Goes into gear really smooth. Running really nice, actually. Hear that tinging? I don't know if that's going to pick up well on the mic. That's my speedometer. That magnetic pickup just is not working. Alright, well, that drives a whole lot better. I'm really happy with that valve body install. So it obviously shifts a lot smoother, which I would expect with it being a stock valve body. I mean, they're designed for smooth shifts for comfort. I didn't experience any weird downshifts. really experience anything out of the ordinary. Well, one. I did have one weird downshift, but I would kind of expect there to be maybe not as smooth as it would be if it was completely stock, because with the B&M Transpac shift kit, you do replace some parts in the transmission itself, an accumulator spring, I think there's a couple other springs, some other parts that get swapped out in the body of the transmission, not in the valve body. So those parts are still in there. So I would expect there to maybe be some oddities, but overall this thing ran a lot better than the stock valve body. Previous original valve body. I don't know, like I said, when I pulled that valve body out to do the shift kit, it was obvious somebody had been in there prior. I don't know what they did. I don't know if they screwed something up. I don't know if it had issues to begin with. I don't know the history of it. So putting this one in fixed all those issues. So going forward, I think the next step is I'm going to take the 3-2 downshift module, whatever that was called, that little module that wasn't present on the one I just installed. I'm going to take that and put that on the valve body. I'm also going to go ahead and do the Shift Technology Products shift correction package. And this is going to basically increase the speed at which the lockup comes on. And that way, there's never any issues with that lockup engaging and disengaging at low speeds. I'll increase it as much as I can with the kit, and that way when I start getting more towards like highway speeds, then the lockup will engage at that point instead of at slower speeds. So that'll probably be the next video. I'm gonna get this thing back up on stands, get everything draining, and get it ready to pull the valve body again to do that. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, guys. Go ahead and hit that subscribe, hit the bell, share the video. It all helps get, exposure and get the video out there and help hopefully increase subscriptions and views. It just really helps out. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.